Hey YouTube, Budget Nerd here again. Our family was looking for a cheap home phone for the kids to call on the rare occasion when they need us. And we didn't want to spend much money, we knew it wouldn't be used much. And plus I'm very budget minded. This video is about using the OB200 from ObiHi, I think that's how you pronounce it, coupled with an internet connection, a Google Voice account, and a normal cordless phone to get free home phone. There are lots of videos on this already floating around, so this is nothing new, but I wanted to show everyone my take on the device and setup and share with you my experience. So let's jump right in. So Google Voice is just a phone forwarding and messaging system. It's not a phone service, but you can use this equipment and setup to have it more or less serve that purpose. You can call this a free home phone, but keep in mind, there are some initial one-time upfront costs. This is what you'll need. Number one, a Google Voice account. Won't cost you a penny, just set one up. Link to that in the description, or Google it. Number two, a normal phone. I chose a cordless DECT phone, free if you have one, pricing varies if you have to buy one. Get what suits you. Don't worry about getting one with a built-in answering machine, more on that later. Number three, OB200 device. Link in the description. Mine cost around $47. It will handle one phone. If you want more, ObiTalk does offer other options. Number four, wired connection to your network with high-speed internet. Number five, a PC to set up your ObiTalk account. Hopefully everyone's good there. Alright, so first head over to the Googles and search for Google Voice, or hit up the link in the description and set up your account. I won't bother showing that in this video. There are plenty of resources out there on how to do that. Just do it though. You'll want your Google Voice account set up already before doing anything else. You can use a new Google account for this, or you can use an existing Google account. Just add Google Voice to it. Up to you. Now that that's done, let's unbox some of the stuff we got in the mail. So, the OB200, it isn't very large. It comes in a small box. You get a setup manual that covers the steps you'll want to follow. Here's the OB200. Has some status lights on the front, top for power, activity, and service. You get an Ethernet cable and the power adapter, nothing fancy. Ports on the back are for your phone, USB, which I didn't use, your Ethernet cable to connect it to your network, and the power. The phone I got was just some refurbished model. Works fine. I got a power cable, the cradle for the phone, the bracket to mount it to the wall if I want, the phone cord, a battery, some paper, and the phone itself. It'll do. Well, let's hook some of it up now. First the phone, plug it into power, then plug in the phone line. The other end of the phone line goes into the phone jack of the OB200. Hook up the Ethernet cable to the Ethernet port on the back of the OB200 and hook up the power. Plug in the other end of the Ethernet cable to the network, like an Ethernet port around the house or into a switch or straight into your router. For me, I plugged it into one of my new Ethernet ports I set up about 5 months ago or so. You can check out how I added these if you want in one of my other videos, link in the description. I had to just activate the port on my patch panel and switch. I'll Velcro this later. No, I guess I'll do it now. Now let's check out the instructions. Step 1, actually not a step it would seem, just a checklist of what you'll need, which we've already covered, okay? Step 2, alright, we've done this one as well. Step 3, make a test call. So, without linking the OB200 to your Google Voice account, you can still make calls to other OB devices. You could dial 9, then several 2s to test your setup. I tried, and it didn't work for me. Moving on. Step 4, go to obitalk.com and set up your ObiTalk account. Then add your Obi device to your Obi account. How hard could it be, right? So off we go to obitalk.com, then click register, sign in with your Google account, the one you have your Google Voice set up with. First time logging in, you'll see this pop up asking if you want to add an Obi device. Click yes. This page tells you how to set it up, but we've already done that. So scroll down, make sure I want to configure Google Voice on this device is checked. It is by default, and click Next. Pick up your handset and dial the number they show on the screen. When you hear the automated response, you can hang up. Then wait as it tries to connect your Obi device. I waited a while, but it didn't seem to be working for me. While I was setting this up, I was having some issues with my internet. I think that was why I was having issues connecting. I tried several more times, and it finally did connect. Once initially connected, it will pop up with this warning that lets you know this type of setup might have issues placing or receiving emergency calls. If you do want it to play nicer with emergency calls, there are services you can add on for a small fee. For me, it's no big deal. Accept the Google Voice terms of service, then change what you need to on this next page. The defaults are fine for me. Put in your area code if you want to, and then click Finish Setup. Google will have you choose an account. Select the account you use to set up your Google Voice before starting this process. Click Allow to let ObiTalk view and send messages, and configure your device to make and receive phone calls using your Google account. I got an error, probably just my internet connection again. I tried it again and it worked. Then click Confirm. Next, you're taken to the main ObiTalk page for your account. You can see at the bottom it's configuring Google Voice with my Obi200. It just spun and didn't do much for a while. Once again, might have been my internet. While you're waiting for it to configure, you can scroll up and enter any changes you want to make or set a password to log into your obitalk.com configuration page. Once it shows it's connected, you're good to go. Next, I tried to make a call, but I had no luck. Might have still been my internet. I then checked the service light on the Obi200, and the service light was still not lit. I tried to check the ObiHi site, but it wouldn't load. Could it be my internet strikes again? Ultimately, I just waited a bit, and it said it was connected. So let's try another phone call. It worked. I called my cell phone. I left a message. Sounded good enough. Next, I called it, and the phone rang. So despite a few hiccups and trying a few times, probably just my internet's fault, setup wasn't too bad, was quick, and worked. Worth noting, I wasn't really getting the voicemails on the telephone the way I had hoped. If no one answered the home phone, Google Voice would take over and keep the message instead of letting the phone on my stand get it. Keep in mind, Google Voice is not a phone service. It's a phone forwarding and messaging service. When my Google Voice number I selected is called, I have it set up to forward that call to my ObiHi device. If I answer it with my new setup, it gets the call. If I do not, Google Voice will then take over and take the message. So, save yourself a few more bucks and get a phone that does not have a built-in answering machine. Chances are you won't be able to use it. The first week with this setup was hit or miss, to be honest. It seemed like it would drop its connection, and when I would call it, sometimes it wouldn't ring, and placing calls with it didn't always work. I was starting to think about returning this stuff, as I wasn't sure, but I still had a feeling it was my spotty internet causing the issue. I called my ISP, and they noted a few issues with my service in my area, and after they addressed them, it became much more consistent. The last several months with the Obi200 now have been very nice. No more connection issues, and it rings when I call it. That's all I want it to do. At this point, I could recommend it if you're looking for a cheap or free home phone-like setup. Although, do not forget, you'll need a phone and an ObiTalk device, so there is some initial cost. There's a link in the description if you are looking to grab your own. Let me know what you think of yours in the comments. Did you have any of the minor issues I did? Thanks for watching.